Welcome back to Good Morning LaLa. I'm so excited to have this woman here. I'm sure you've seen her books in all the beautiful bookstores, The Heart of a Boy and Strong is the New Pretty. So Kate Parker is in the house, New York Times bestseller. I've seen your books everywhere. They're gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So tell us a little bit about the books.
So I am a photographer, and I have two daughters who are 13 and 10, and I started my first book, Strong is the New Pretty, trying to show them that they didn't need to change who they were to be beautiful, just because so many images that we see today and my girls see are photoshopped and face-tuned and altered in some way that makes girls think that they don't measure up. And so I wanted to show images that show girls what they really look like, what they're really doing. And then the follow-up was Heart of a Boy, which kind of did the same things for boys. Instead of showing, I mean, we show them as strong, but I wanted to show the more vulnerable and the kind side of boys, and so that's how this book sort of came to be.
Fantastic. I think it's so important.
It really
Absolutely.
is.
So why now with Heart of a Boy?
So I feel like we are farther along in that conversation with our girls. Like, it is really accepted for girls to be strong and confident. Like, there's so many things that encourage girls to do that. Like, there's hundreds of books like Strong is the New Pretty, but when they actually look for comps for this book, you know, like your publishers, like how many books like this are there? I couldn't find one.
Wow.
Like, so there's not that much that's encouraging our boys to like take that box off of who they are. Like, it's a smaller box of what our boys are allowed to be. So I wanted images that showed boys in a different way, you know, like showing them as kind and vulnerable, but also strong and confident.
So what was it like? You actually went around and took all these pictures?
I did, yes.
Wow.
So, and there's a quote from
Wow.
each of the boy that accompanies his image. And so I shot all over the country. And this is Eric. He's a perfect example. His interests are not football, it's not art, but it's makeup.
Wow. And tell us about the boy on the cover.
So the boy on the cover is very close to my heart. It's my nephew, Sam. And we live in Atlanta, and he lives about 10 minutes from me. So I have had images of his whole life. So it was pretty lovely that he got to be our cover boy.
Super cool. What I love, I think, most about your work is that there's an expression I love, which is, I can show you better than tell you. And I think that's what you do. How do you do that in your life? Like, how do you demonstrate that consistently in your life?
I try for at least to be a role model for my kids. Like, I tried to model, like, for me, I am pushed out of my comfort zone 100% when the books come out. I am so comfortable behind the camera. I don't love speaking in front of groups. I don't love travel. I don't love being in front of the camera. It's just not where I'm comfortable. But I believe in this message so much. For me, it's worth it. So I hope my girls recognize, I'm scared, but I'm doing it anyway because it's more important to me.
I remember being in Brentwood. I was meeting a group for dinner, and I went in that bookstore. And I'm just browsing around the books, and for me, I was actually looking at books, thinking which books stand out to me. And I remember, and I remember your book specifically. And I think it says a lot because they're very clear messages. And I do think that we are so bombarded with pictures of perfection these days, and finding our own truth in all of it is so important. Thank you so much for all of your work.
We would love to show a little trailer for A Heart of a Boy. Let's take a peek.
Man up. Boys don't cry. Toughen up. Don't be a sissy.
You act like a girl.
Boys will be boys.
Boys will have heart.
Oh,
So
so
powerful.
touching.
Really powerful.
Really touching.
Thank you. I loved getting to put a little motion to those images and get a little bit deeper. So that I feel like that like really encapsulates
I
what
think
the
it's
book's
really
about.
important. I think so many men are being lost right now, and they're trying to find, if they're not that, what are they? And just knowing and keeping it in our heart for the men and the boys out there that they get to find their own way and their own expression. And we don't know exactly what that is. Everyone's still,
Yes.
you know, the whole culture is shaking down to find what that is for each person.
Yeah, I think it's for me. It's not a message for girls, a message for boys. It's a human message about celebrating ourselves for who we are. And then I feel like if our kids are allowed that full spectrum of what it means to be human, they will grow up and appreciate it in each other. And it's about creating that change, like kind of generationally.
Well, thank you
Oh
for
my
capturing that and sharing it. Please tell everyone where they can find and follow your personal journey and, of course, get your book.
Oh,
She's
sure.
an Iron Man too.
Yeah, I know. Unbelievable.
Super mom. So you can, I'm at ktparker.com. Instagram is probably the best because it's like photography based. But the book is everywhere. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, independent bookstores.
Congratulations,
awesome.
Kate.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
for
much,
your work.
Kate.
And we'll
Thank
be right
you.
back.